Judge's Corner is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com and GatheringMagic.com. Support our show by visiting both websites. Now it's time for Judge's Corner with David Green.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Judge's Corner. Today we're going to be talking about Convoke, a mechanic originally seen in Ravnica, City of Guilds, and then again in Future Sight. But since Future Sight, the rules have changed just a little bit for Convoke. So today we're going to go over Convoke and show you exactly how it works and how it's been made even easier to understand since M15. The Convoke reminder text, as seen on Magic 2015, will say, your creatures can help cast this spell. Each creature you tap while casting this spell pays for 1 colorless mana, or 1 mana of that creature's color. That's pretty much spot on for what Convoke does. An example of casting a Convoke spell would be like playing Siege Worm. You could pay all 7 mana normally, like you would if you were casting any other spell. You could also pay for some of the green by tapping that extra elf you have laying around. Or you could pay for the entire spell by tapping 7 creatures, so long as at least 2 of them are green. But you can't pay for the spell with 8 creatures, even if you really want to tap an extra creature. Also, paying for a spell with Convoke doesn't change the converted mana cost, so tapping 5 creatures to help Convoke Siege Worm won't reduce the converted mana cost to 2. It'll just cost you 2 more mana beyond the 5 you already paid for. Also, Convoke is not an alternative cost. So you could totally reduce the cost of Convoke spells you flash back off a Snapcaster Mage. What I mean by this is, if you flashed back Devouring Light with Snapcaster Mage, you could then tap a Snapcaster Mage for the Convoke cost by reducing 1 colorless of Devouring Light. And the final thing to know is, you can't tap creatures that have already been tapped for something else to help pay for Convoke. Also, keep in mind that you can tap creatures that just came into play this turn, or creatures that are summoning sick, because you're tapping them for Convoke and not for their own abilities. And if you tap a creature with multiple costs in its colors, it'll help pay for one of the colors of that creature, but not for all of the colors in that creature. Next, let's take a look at how we cast spells with Convoke. Convoke is paid for in the 7th and final step in casting a spell. I talk a bit about casting spells in another episode, which you can click on this annotation to watch. But I'll go ahead and list the 7 steps anyways. First, you announce the spell and put it on the stack. Second, you choose any modes, values for X, hybrid mana costs, etc. Third, you choose the targets for the spell. Fourth, you choose how each target will be affected. Fifth, you total the cost of the spell. Sixth, you activate mana abilities to help pay for the cost of the spell. And then 7th, you pay all costs in any order. The first thing I'll talk about is the 5th step, which actually has nothing to do with Convoke. It's there for totaling the cost of things, like the increased cost due to Thalia, the reduction due to Ruby Medallions, or even setting the cost thanks to Trinisphere. The only reason why I mention that is to help emphasize that the increase or decrease to the cost of the spell thanks to the creatures you tap for Convoke have absolutely nothing to do with totaling the cost of the spell. In the 6th step, we activate mana abilities. So for example, you can generate mana off of creatures, like with Birds of Paradise. But if you do that, then you can't tap it later on for Convoke because it's already been tapped. You could also activate something that sacrifices to generate mana, like Satyr Hedonist. But then he won't be around to be tapped for Convoke later on. Basically, you want to activate all of your mana abilities during this step, and it unfortunately happens before you use Convoke. Lastly, we pay for costs in any order in the 7th step, and that includes tapping your spare creatures for Convoke. Alright everyone, that's it for our episode. If you have any questions about this content or any of our others, make sure to send us an email at judgescorner@gatheringmagic.com. And if you like what you see here or anything else Gathering Magic makes, don't forget to subscribe to their channel. Until next time, remember to shuffle thoroughly, play at a reasonable pace, and have fun.